Hey, welcome back to Life on the Wrist. Hope you're doing well. So today we're going to be continuing our series where we talk about each of the MB&F watches. If you are new to the channel, I'm a huge fan of MB&F. It is a smaller watch company that was started by an individual named Max Buse, and they make some really interesting watches that they call kinetic pieces of art. So I'm kind of going through each of them, giving you some information about the watch, and then giving you my opinions on each of the different watches that they have created. So if you are new to the channel, welcome to Life on the Wrist. We create videos about watches, about anything that you can think of. We create videos about it. So if you are interested in those types of videos, be sure to check out our other videos in our channel and hit that subscribe button. And if you haven't already, smash that button, the like button for the YouTube algorithm. Be greatly appreciated. So like I said, this is a continuation of our series where we go through each of the pieces that MB&F have created. We've done 3 other videos on MB&F pieces, the Horological Machine number 1, 2, and 3. This video is going to be on the HM4, nicknamed the Thunderbird. So if you don't know, and I kind of gave a little bit of an introduction to MB&F, MB&F is a watch company that makes kinetic pieces of art and focus more on the way in which you can tell time and the design of the piece as opposed to the watchmaking. However, they do create some very, very high quality movements that often push the envelope when it comes to innovation within the watch industry. So I think they're a perfect combination of both watchmaking as well as design. It's a great combination, and Max Buse has done a really great job of kind of steering the company in that direction. So the HM4 is obviously, like I said previously, nicknamed the Thunderbird. It's an aviation-inspired piece that comes from Max's childhood passion. Most of the pieces that have been created are Max's memories of his childhood or things that Max has experienced throughout his life. So this one came from his passion as a child, where he was used to assemble model airplanes. And this piece here takes its inspiration from the A-10 planes. Max really takes a lot of his inspiration from his childhood, and this is definitely no exception. It actually took 3 years of research and development, mostly development, to create this piece because it was so intricate with the way in which it was, 1, laid out, and 2, obviously the watchmaking behind it. So the watch is made up of 311 components. The case for the original HM4 was made in grade 5 titanium and sapphire. There were some other iterations that they made which came in different a variety of metals, which included things like red gold and rose gold, but there were a lot of variations that came after that. But this was obviously the first iteration that they made was in titanium and sapphire crystal. The engine of the movement, which I guess you can say engine if you look at it if you look at the watch as a plane, but the movement was actually developed by Laurent, Besse, and Beranger, Reynard. These two, obviously Laurent Besse has worked with Max on multiple projects. You've probably heard me say his name a couple of times, but the movement was developed by them, and obviously it took them 3 years to really integrate the movement with the design that Max had kind of laid out. The watch has 2 mainsprings, 72 hours of power reserve, and the mainspring and the oscillating balance wheel, which obviously is hugely iconic within the MB&F line, is actually sitting on the top of the watch, which you can see it oscillate really nicely. There are 2 parallel mainsprings that work together to power the movement. Now, when it comes to reading the watch, you actually read it horizontally as opposed to looking at the dial down. So if you turn it to its side and you kind of read it like this, the right side is the hours and minutes, and then the left dial is a power reserve indication. So you kind of have 2 separate modules to tell you the time and the power reserve. Each of those pods has 2 crowns. The pods is how they refer to each of the sides. So they each have crowns. So one is used to wind the watch, and the other one is used to change the time. So quite an interesting way of developing that, but I think that took a lot of time and effort to figure out how you could have that occur. As you can see, it's got very, very sloped edges, but it's kind of got an industrial feel to it. So it's obviously they're not very integrated. It sits very high on your wrist. I think it's like 52 millimeters in length, so it's quite a large watch, so it has a huge presence on your wrist. That kind of gives you an overview of the watch. I think kind of going into my opinion on the watch, I really like the story. I think and I think that's one of the reasons why I love MB&F, is the fact that there are stories with each one of the watches that is created by MB&F and the watchmakers that they use, the friends in Laurent, Besse and Reynard. I like the fact that that's the main focus of the company. And I think what Max did with translating his passion for aviation and watches of that era translated really well into the design of the watch, which obviously is something that's super important. I don't think MB&F would have released a watch if they weren't happy with the translation of the story into the design of the watch. So I think they did a really great job with the design. This actually reminds me of an Amida Digitrend vintage watch, especially how you read it. The Amida Digitrend actually is a completely separate watch that looks very similar to one that MB&F has created, but the way in which you read it horizontally as opposed to looking straight down on the dial, I think is really cool. I think people aren't playing with the way in which you read watches enough, and I think the fact that you can read it that way is quite interesting. If you didn't know, we actually had a vintage Amida Digitrend in our store, which we got to sell to a very lucky owner in Singapore, so I hope he's enjoying that if you stumble upon the video. Really cool way of reading the time. When it comes to the watches that MB&F has created, the HM4s, I probably wouldn't be my first inkling to purchase. It's just not really my style. I think it's a little bit more sporty, a little bit heavier presence on your wrist, and I have relatively small wrists, and I think it might just stick out a little bit too much. However, I have an extreme amount of respect for the way in which this was created and the design of it. I think I remember reading that the case itself was extremely hard to design. It was a couple, I think it's like 2 or 3 pieces that were put together, but if you messed up the cutting of each of those pieces, you basically had to start from scratch. So I know this was a very difficult watch to create, but a lot of the times the most difficult things are the things that are the best and you will enjoy the most. So really great watch from MB&F. The HM4, like I said, probably isn't my first inkling to purchase, similar to the HM2. Probably not what I would first reach out to. I would think I would go with the HM3 over this, just because I think the HM3 really was almost like a budding moment for the company. They made a lot of limited editions of it or variations of it, like the HM Frog. So probably wouldn't go for the HM4 over the HM3, but still HM4 is an amazing piece. Hats off to MB&F for creating such a cool piece, and I think it definitely, I think the design you have to really fall in love with in order to want to wear this watch on your wrist. So great watch from MB&F for sure. So if you are new to the channel and you made this far and you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to our channel. It really does help us out, and make sure that you hit that like button. It really does help us out with the YouTube algorithm. We've gotten so many more people who've joined our channel, and I just want to keep that going and making sure that we can spread these interesting videos, making sure we're creating videos that you want to see. So if there is something specific that you want to see from us, be sure to leave it in the comment section below. If you aren't familiar with Life on the Wrist, we also run a watch shop. In that watch shop, we actually just released a Girard-Perregaux Seahawk. It's got the original box for it, so definitely check that out. The link will be in the description to our shop. It also will have our client reviews. Our website has client reviews, has our blog, has all kinds of things on it, so be sure to check us out there. If you are on Instagram and you haven't followed us already, make sure to follow @LifeOnTheWrist. We post there almost every single day, so if you're wanting daily content from us, be sure to do that. If you are subscribed to the channel, make sure to hit the bell icon. It will notify you when we do upload. We upload 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, so be sure to subscribe to the channel if you like these types of videos. Obviously, the next one in this series is going to be the HM5, but if there is a MB&F watch that you want us to look at before that, be sure to let us know in the comment section below. I just want to say thank you so much for all your support. It really does help us out on the channel. It helps keeps us motivated, and makes us want to continue making videos for you guys. So thank you so much for all the support that you've shown us over the past ultimately a year. We've had some tremendous growth over the past year, so really thank you for all of that. And if you have any questions about the watches that we have in our store, be sure to let us know. And with that said, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and until next time.